All right, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. My name is George Wright III, and I am here with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. I'm so glad you joined me today, and I'm really excited to talk to you about some things that I know many of you have been struggling with. There's a lot of complex problems and thoughts and things going on in the world right now. But before I jump into that, let's start with the quote of the day out of the free Daily Mastermind mobile app. It's that third tab that gives you the really nice 4K images and quotes every day. And the quote is from Kobe Bryant. It's not the destination, it's the journey. It's not the destination, it's the journey. Now, what I love about that is at the same passion level of what I don't like about those kind of quotes. And that is that it's really hard to just accept the idea that you can just be happy with the present moment and stay focused on the journey rather than the destination, because that's a difficult thing to do, right? We have a lot of complex problems going on right now, stress and anxiety and depression. These are real things that people are dealing with every single day. And it's easier said than done to just say, I'm going to focus and enjoy the journey. So I want to talk to you today about maybe a list of suggestions and ideas and recommendations, strategies that you can use when you get into that place of negative thoughts. And you know what I'm talking about. These negative thoughts that start small, but they kind of grow and they get bigger. And some of these negative thoughts you carry with you day after day after day, and they get really big. Maybe some of them your whole life, and you've never really addressed them, but you need strategies to be able to deal with them ongoing. So I want to talk to you about, 8 or 9 or 10 different ideas on how you can, create strategies to get yourself out of negative thoughts. And the most important one, the first one that I would say, is to bookend your days in the morning and the evening. Meaning, in the morning, if you can start off on the right foot, you're going to start your day off at a whole new level, and you can avoid the best, like I said, the best way to overcome these is to avoid these problems in the first place of getting into negative space. So when you start your day by identifying gratitude or journaling, and you can do the same thing at the end of the day, especially before you go to sleep. Count your blessings, look at the successful things you've done, the successes of the day, look at, memories you've created. These kind of activities will get you focused on the positive. So starting your day and ending your day with those are a really, really, really good way to do that, to get out of negative thoughts. So another suggestion I have is to change the questions that you ask yourself. Because you see, my partner Robert talks a lot about the fact that most of us have these questions we ask ourselves. That's what gets our mind going. But most of us are working off the assumption of a primary question, like, how can I be better? Or what do they think of me? Or what am I doing with my life? Whatever it is, these questions a lot of times have negative presuppositions. Meaning, if you're always asking yourself, how can I be better? You're assuming that you're not good enough. You're making this presupposition, whether it's conscious or subconscious, that you're not good enough because you can get better. So it's a very slippery slope, but if you can change the way you ask yourself questions when you get into negative spots, start asking positive questions, you can shift your thinking. Like, what can I find as a solution here? What can I learn from this situation? What do I love about this particular person or this thing or my job, rather than focusing on the negative? So the questions that you ask yourself, the questions are a trigger to put your mind in a different direction. So look at changing the questions you ask yourself. Another one is to remind yourself that people don't care about what you say and do. Most people really, truly have so many problems of their own, so many things they're dealing with, that you got to remember, they're just as overwhelmed as you are. And we are spending our time worried about what people think of us, what we look like, what our posts are doing on social, whether we're perceived as being someone that's successful. You can't forget that most people are so caught up in their own problems that they're not worried about you. So just remind yourself about that. Another suggestion I have is to literally scientifically shift a trigger in your brain. So when you change your thoughts from emotion to logic, you can shift out of those negative emotions. And the way you do that is question your thoughts. Because the minute you say something like, why am I thinking that? What is the reason that I'm feeling that way? You're immediately going from this place of emotions and feeling to a more logical CEO, analysis of your brain. And it helps you to shift sometimes out of those feeling negative and overwhelmed feelings. So shifting your brain by literally shifting from the emotion to the logic is by questioning the thought itself. Question the thought itself. Another suggestion I have is to actually look at your surroundings and change your surroundings. Take a moment. Sometimes we don't take a moment just to look and see what's around us. What are the places, the environment, the people, and shift into a place of positivity. Start flooding your mind with good positive podcasts and motivation or videos, and get around people and surroundings that are positive, because that energy is going to change how you feel when you're around positive things. Another suggestion I have is to change your perspective or filter. And you do that by asking a simple question. Is this really going to matter in 5 years? If you can answer a question like, is this really going to matter in 5 years? Because the answer is almost always no. Then it helps you to realize that it's not such a big deal. And that perspective or that filter that you have on the situation will change. It'll change how you're feeling, your mood, and everything like that. Another suggestion I have is to talk it out or vent. Sometimes it's not about getting answers, and that's why it's important who you're talking to. Don't talk to people that are going to jump on the bandwagon and enable your negative emotions. Talk to people that'll just let you talk and get it out, because sometimes you can work it out. I do that a lot, where I just work things out on my own, but talking it out loud makes the difference. So talking can be a great way to just get negative thoughts out of your mind and let them go. Okay? Another suggestion I have for you on this list I wrote was to come back to the present, because most of our negativity, our overwhelming thoughts either stems from past situations or future events. Future events are going to cause a lot of anxiety because they haven't even happened. You got to realize the future has not even happened. And past events may cause regret and negativity and bad thoughts and emotions. When you bring yourself back to the present, you realize that the past is over. You have to move on, and the present the future hasn't happened. And you can do that. Come back to the present by simply doing something like focus on your breath. Take 5 short breaths. Focus on your breathing in and your breathing out. This is why meditation is a good thing, because it brings you back to the present, and you can drop the problems and negative feelings that are associated with all these past and future events. So coming back to the present, practice meditation, counting. When you focus intently on something else, it's really, really hard to focus on your problem. And that kind of brings me back to my next suggestion, which was force a change in your thought direction. And you can do this because if you have a hobby or a task or a project or something that you can go consume yourself with, it'll get you focused on something else rather than the negative thoughts that are kind of in your mind or the emotions and feelings that you have. And another great suggestion to do would be to go work out or exercise. Now, don't make such a big deal out of this. Sometimes I have this desk in my office where it's a stand-up desk. So I could be sitting, and if I just need to change my space, I just raise it up and I stand up and work for a while that way. Maybe you need to just open the door, go outside and go for a walk. Maybe you need to just, run around, do some push-ups, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a full workout, but understand that there's this amazing connection between the body and the mind. And the body and the mind work really well together. So if you're in that, you notice Tony Robbins talks a lot about when you're depressed or negative, your shoulders start to slump and your head goes down and, you're just slower. So sometimes just changing your physical state, put your shoulders back, look up, stand up, move around, take a deep breath. That physical change, believe me, will make a massive change to your body, to your mind as well. And that'll be a big way to do that. So a couple more I had written down. One is change your focus to service. See, a lot of times our negativity surrounds our own personal identity. And when you can shift to focusing on other people that have needs and desires that you can serve and you can support and you can help, it definitely helps you to get a perspective on your life, and it helps you to realize that a lot of your problems are wrapped up in your own identity, and your own identity is not something that you need to focus on in order to be truly successful and happy in the first place. And then finally, probably the most productive way for you to eliminate negative thoughts and push yourself into a more positive place is to create an exercise or practice of gratitude. You can do this a lot of different ways, but I recommend literally keeping a gratitude journal, or at least when you're in that spot, writing down a list, a specific list. And it might sound dumb, but write down what you're grateful for. And it's funny because truly grateful people could go on and on and on. But if you're in a place where you're like, well, grateful for my my job and my car. I mean, you're just not digging deep enough. I mean, you should be grateful to be alive and the air and the place you live and the people around you and, something that happened to you today, or the fact that you could be listening to this podcast, or that you even have a phone, or that you have any money, or, that you don't. And, be grateful for everything in your life. And the more grateful you are, it's almost like impossible for negativity and gratitude to be together. Try that exercise, writing down things you're grateful for, and do it until you need to. But watch how quickly you shift away from negativity, depression, anxiety when you practice gratitude. So anyway, that's my message for today. I just wanted to give you some tangible, specific strategies because I know this is a big thing for a lot of people, including myself and others. And so I encourage you to pick a couple of strategies that work the best for you. Be aware of what helps you, when it helps you. Be aware of what your mindset and your mental state is so that your inner world will create the outer world that you truly desire and you're truly able to achieve. You have everything you need to achieve it. The key is just to create that conscious focus and effort in creating your life. So there you go for the day. I hope if you have any comments, let me know. Please share this episode with somebody you feel might benefit from it or need it, or just give me some feedback on what else we can do to kind of help you out. This has been the episode for today. My name is George Wright III, and this has been the Daily Mastermind. Have an amazing day.